information in some sort of therapeutic way of trying to filter out and finagle my way through love. And we have this thing in the poetry community. If you hear a line that you like, you can snap your fingers. But when the poem is done, I do ask that you applaud the poem. Here we go. Love. It is the most beautiful, complex emotion. It is sun rays on a cloudy day. At the same time, the very storm that made the day cloudy. It is the rain we love to dance in. I mean, what other way are we able to dance and hide tears? It is the pain we long for. And turn around and curse the pain we crave. It is peace, as long as we can create it. We are artists. We tend to forget that there's so much beauty we can't create. We create storms that fogs our minds, and the whole time we forget that we can always paint happy little trees. Only if we could stop worrying about burning bushes. Start thinking about the fire of desire. If we can only paint and focus on the passion, we can create the love we want. However, we must understand that we would never know pleasure without experiencing pain. Never could appreciate the warmth of a sun ray if you've never been deep in the dark. One would never know the prosperity of love if you've never been poor from it or lack the love you feel you deserve. Sometimes we feel we deserve all the roses. However, we disregard the thorns. We want the pretty without rolling up our sleeves. We beg for the beauty without strapping up our boots. We want heaven without dying. We want love without trying. We want the cake, but don't want to bake. Sometimes love is harsh, but love is kind. And love can make you be unkind. Love is understanding that we may not always understand. Sometimes it seems untrue, but love is genuine. Confusing, huh? But love is the most complex emotion, but it's up to us to create the most imperfect, perfect, happy, sad piece of art that our souls would never forget. Thank you. I like that's pretty cool. Like I've never read that anywhere. I think I had to write it for somebody. Which, by the way, I write poems on special occasions. I am for hire, not only to write and send you a poem, I can come and perform at your venue or your party, bar mitzvah, weddings, even going to jail parties. I can do all of that. I tell jokes too. I want to share with you some haiku. First and foremost, I had to learn later on that the plural of haiku is haiku. So those out there listening, if you don't know what a haiku is, it's a very short piece of poetry, 17 syllables, like Moody Black, it's 3 syllables, it's 17, traditionally written about nature and things of that sorts. But I write crazy stuff and thought-provoking haiku. And shout out to the Japanese who started it long centuries ago. But Americans have taken it and twisted it and made it all kind of funny stuff. That's what I do. Here we go, haiku 1. Love's a battlefield. The wounded seek to wound. I have the scars to prove it. Haiku 2. I feel dead inside. Her smile was my oxygen. Can't breathe without her. Funny how typhoons criticize tornadoes about the mess they make. Number 5, your ideal self is when you don't fit in with your friend in the mirror. 6, in elevator. I heard her do it 2 times, then go look at me. I'm silly. 2 more. And just for y'all know, I do have a book. I ran out of physical copies, but you can order it on Amazon. It's called The Other Side of Tomorrow, where I have haiku and short stories and thoughts and poems. There's a whole montage of my thoughts all over the place. So check it out. Yay. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Body instruments make their own music at night. They don't need DJ. Last one. Funny how we seek long-term ships when we are temporary vessels. Like that? Okay. All right. Before I read this next poem, I love to laugh. I love doing comedy, and sometimes I love just hearing funny jokes. I do comedy. I haven't done it in a long time, but I used to go out to Coffee Underground not only on Sundays for poetry, but Mondays they have open mic for comedy, and just to get my chops up and tell some jokes. And I started going to Comedy Zone downtown Greenville. Did a couple of competitions. I think one of them I came in third place, which I was like, yay, because I always told jokes during my sets, and I was like, you know what, I could put a set together, and it was nerve-wracking. I was scared because I never did just comedy. And that was right before the pandemic. Then a lot of the comedians that were seasoned, they were like, no, Moody, you know how to work the stage. Just be you. Because I would separate my artistic poetry self from my comedy self. But they was like, no, just be you. And that's what I started doing. One thing, just having kids, it has been a funny journey for me. And the neighborhood where I grew up in, we had this particular beverage that we drank all the time called Kool-Aid. And in our neighborhood, we didn't call Kool-Aid by its flavors. We called it by its colors. So if you made cherry, strawberry, watermelon, or fruit punch, we said that's red Kool-Aid. Called it by its color. But see, I wanted to be different. I wanted to teach my kids how to call things by its proper name. So one day I'm making some grape Kool-Aid. And my daughter busted in, she was 6 at the time. She said, oh, Daddy, you making purple Kool-Aid. And I'm like, don't you do that. That is grape. And she looked at me and looked at the picture and said, but Daddy, it's purple. So I'm going back and forth with this 6-year-old about Kool-Aid. And I was being a dad. I was like, that's it. I'm your daddy. You got to ball your mouth when you're mad. I'm your daddy. You're going to listen to me. That is grape Kool-Aid. She backed up. She said, oh, okay. You just trying to be Pacific. I said, child, it's specific. She said, oh, I know. My S's are silent. I don't know what to do with these kids. And what's crazy, just as a parent, I used to laugh when I was young at my parents and other parents when they have multiple kids, mix up their names. Like, for instance, when I had kids, so I had 2 daughters at the time, and one was 9 and one was 6. We went to Ryan's Steakhouse. I don't know if y'all remember Ryan's. Yeah, you remember? And this be packed on Sundays. Everybody go, and right after church or something, and one Sunday we all got together, our family, we had this long table. We sat down, and my daughter sat across from my mother. And my 6-year-old, and they poured our drinks first, and they had those funny plastic cups, those gold with little ridges to make them look fancy, but it was just cheap plastic cups. And they poured our beverage in it, and my daughter had her tea. Now, we was taught, like, you can't drink until the food come out or you finish your food. My 6-year-old started drinking her drink, just turn it up. My mom started calling my child by her sister's name. So my older daughter is Ashley, my younger daughter is Nia, and my mom was like, Ashley, put that cup down. Ashley, you hear me talking to you? Ashley, put the cup down. And my daughter Ashley's like, what are you talking about, Grandma? I'm not drinking anything. And I didn't realize, how you have so much in your mind until like earlier, like a couple of weeks ago, I had my sons. My 12-year-old is Zen, and my 6-year-old is Langston. And my son, Langston had picked up something I told him to put back down, and he kept playing with it. I'm like, Zen, you hear me talking to you? Zen, put that thing down. And he just kept on playing. And then my son said, what are you talking about? So a lot of my comedy is family oriented and stuff, so that's what that is, especially my kids. So I'm going to share a poem. Where it is? This is called, wait a minute, wait. Here we go. I wrote this poem. I had a cousin who I was really, really close with. We grew up together. And until we got grown, it's so funny when we become adults and we all go our separate ways and stuff like that. And because we have to survive and to maneuver through life, we sometimes forget the relationships we built. And we take those for granted until those people go away. And my cousin, in his 30s at the time, was at some pool hall just shooting pool. And these guys got to arguing and they started shooting and a stray bullet hit him and killed him. And it just devastated me because I just saw him a week prior to that to try to arrange a meeting where we can hang out. And I missed the opportunity. So this poem is a piece dedicated to him. Here it goes. I don't know whether I was then a man dreaming I was a butterfly, or whether I am now a butterfly dreaming I am a man. Song Shi, Chinese philosopher. Butterfly is the Greek word for soul. When I was little, and even now, I always thought butterflies were beautiful. The fact that each butterfly is adorned with different colors, wings bright as sun yellow, captured on silk to almost midnight, caught on satin, flapping like grandma's quilt on clothesline, cautious but carefree. And how they would fly in a zigzag but graceful way, always standing out, but that somehow makes it easy for predators. And on the playground, there's always one kid who finds it fascinating to rip the wings off of butterflies. Butterflies. It's like we are butterflies, beautiful with different colors, spread our wings of being magnificent, longing to be free. But you'll always find someone on this playground called Earth to rip the wings off of butterflies, more times, often with bullets, too many click-clack in our existence. Many of us butterflies make attempts to fly to escape. Zigzagging to dodge bullets, we become Usain Bolt for our lives, and in a lifetime, most butterflies flap their wings 5 to 12 times a second. The average bullet travels at 2,500 feet per second, around 1,700 miles per hour. Sometimes we don't fly fast enough, because there are more than 12,000 murders every year from gun violence. That means it's about 33 people a day murdered by a gun. That's almost 2 people per hour. Daughters and sons. Some will never get old enough to have daughters and sons. Those murderers will cocoon their beauty. Because a butterfly without wings is a caterpillar with freedom and their dreams ripped. So why do we kill our butterflies? So why do we allow our souls to die? Too many loved ones are left to cry, because all that's left is ripped sun and satin. Torn midnight that can never flap freedom again. Where would the world be without butterflies? Maybe desolate, maybe abandoned, maybe without color. Gun violence will butterfly affect our future. Each rip of our wings is a ripple. It will pass participle our potential. We must protect our people. Watch those persons in the playground, anxious to point pistols, pull off wings. Be ready to fly. Be ready to soar. You live, you monarch, you zebra swallowtail, you purple emperor. Watch for those with intent to kill in their smile. Fingers reek of pulling things, so you better fly. You run. You flee, you flap to see another day. And I have to share that piece. My daughter Nia, who's older now, her cousin, which she was real close with, passed away 2 days ago. She had some health problems. She just went into a coma. They rushed her in the hospital, and they couldn't figure out what's going on. So they sent her to another hospital. By the time she got there, she was brain dead, and she passed away within hours. So yeah, it's crazy. So we got to really cherish each moment we're alive, like we're doing here now, cherishing this moment and having a good time. That's what I'm talking about. So I have this joke. It's not mine, but I love sharing it. All right. So a long time ago, this lady went golfing, and she went golfing and knocked the ball way into the woods. So she went to chase the ball down in the woods. She came across this frog that was trapped in a cage. And the frog said, "Ma'am, if you release me, I will grant you 3 wishes. She's like, "Okay, what the heck? I don't have nothing else to do. There's nothing to lose." So she freed the frog. And the frog said, "Okay, I'm going to grant you 3 wishes. But here's the catch. Everything you wish for, your husband will get 10 times more than you." She said, "Okay, no harm in that." He said, "Go ahead, give me your first wish." And the lady said, "I wish to be the most beautiful woman in the world." The frog said, well, that means your husband will be 10 times more handsomer. She said, okay, that's fine. Fine with me because I'll be the most beautiful woman in the world. And he'll only want me. He said, okay, poof. She's the most beautiful woman in the world. Frog said, give me a second wish. She said, I wish to have $30 million. So the frog said, okay, that means your husband's going to have $300 million. She said, that's fine with me because whatever his is mine and whatever mine is his. He said, okay, poof. She has $330 million, excuse me. Frog said, go ahead, give me your last wish. And the lady said, you know what? I wish to have a mild heart attack. Oh, so I had to perform in this church. I said, you know what? I'm gonna start off with this joke. It was funny. It was a kind of special celebration. We had like all these pastors behind me, and I did it. And I delivered the punchline. It was like 5 seconds of silence. There's this roar of laughter, and the guys back there, they're like, "Oh man, that's funny. You're wrong, but that's funny." Oh, so yeah, I said, you know what? No, I'm gonna incorporate that joke in my set, especially if I see it going a certain way, and I always bring them right back. So I heard another joke. I'm gonna read a couple of poems I got y'all here. Thank y'all for being here today. I could have been anywhere else in the world, but you came here. Thank you so much. Yay, thank you. So of course, you know, in the whole theology of understanding how heaven works, there's a gentleman there at the gates named St. Peter. So St. Peter was bored one day. So he decided that whoever comes up trying to get in the pearly gates, he's going to demand or request that they tell an interesting story before they be able to walk in. So this one gentleman came up. St. Peter said, hold up, wait a minute. Before you come in, you have to tell me an interesting story. So the gentleman's like, I got you. I got a very interesting story. He said, go ahead, tell me what happened. He said, okay, I stay in a 26-story apartment. I came home, and I stay on the 25th floor. And I came home early, and something told me my wife is cheating on me. So I bust open the door, and my wife came running down, nothing but her underwear, come around the stairs panicking. And I just knew the man was still there, so I'm trying to hunt the man down, going to all the rooms. And I went out to the balcony, and I saw some fingers holding on to the edge of the balcony. So I got me a hammer, and I started bamming the guy's fingers, and he fell. I looked down, he fell 25 stories down to some bushes. See, he was still alive. And I wasn't going to have that. So I ran to the kitchen, and I pushed out the refrigerator, and I pushed the refrigerator over the edge, and the refrigerator fell right on top of the guy. But by doing so, I strained myself and ended up having a heart attack. Now I'm here. And St. Peter was like, you know what? That is a very interesting story. All right, I'm glad that you passed. A few minutes later, another gentleman came up to St. Peter. St. Peter said, whoa. Before you enter these gates, you got to tell me a story, a very interesting story. So the second gentleman was like, I got a very interesting story. I was in my 26th floor apartment. I was outside tending to my little flowers I have outside, and I slipped and I fell. I fell from the 26th floor, but I was able to grab the ledge of the 25th floor. And all of a sudden, some idiot came outside and started bamming my fingers with a hammer. So I fell, but fortunately, I landed some bushes, and I didn't die. But then a refrigerator fell on top of me, and here I am. And St. Peter was like, wow, that's a very interesting story. You may pass. So another gentleman came a few minutes later, and St. Peter was like, you know what? When you come across these gates, you got to tell me a very interesting story. And the guy's like, I got you. Now look, I was messing around with this woman, right? And her husband came home early, so I decided to hide in the refrigerator. Yeah, I always like that one. I like that. Oh, all right. So by trade, I'm a teaching artist, and schools contract me to come in. I may do a performance, or I may do a week-long residency where I do 3 or 4 classes a day, and I'm teaching them how to write poems and make poetry fun. So one day I was bored, and I thought about all these terms I know, like all these poetic terms and devices that I've used, and I challenged myself to put all those devices in one poem. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Poetry Slam. Slam is a competition where poets are battling their poems. So I took the whole concept of this Poetry Slam world, where I incorporated all these words. In the Poetry Slam, you have judges ranking the poems with scores, and yeah, here we go. So one day, I was hanging out in the hood, you know, on writer's block. Ran into my friend Imagery, told me to be careful out here on these sheets. There are dark places, pitch black with the stench of fear, harsh words that'll weigh heavy like a weight on your soul. Folk will poetry slam you out here. Score your poem lower than what it deserves. But I bet heard about those score creeps, so I stayed ready. He was like, nah, bro, they be looking for a sacrificial poet. Told me about a wordsmith a long time ago, went over time with his stanzas, had too many rhyme schemes. Then that's when the judge threw the checkbook at him. To this day, he's still living with that time penalty. He kept saying it's rough out here in these sheets, not streets. I just felt like Imagery had some internal rhyme issues. So I went on down to Illusion Avenue. I guess the blank verse on my face was my Achilles heel. Folks knew I was new to the scene. Ran into alliteration. He got to talking about some different things with the same letter. He said, bruh, bars don't belong here. Better be gone before these proverbial beasts give you a beat down. So I dipped out. But the further I walked, I started seeing folk pull out their poetic devices. So I paused. Cicero. Didn't want to make the wrong moves, etc. Then I noticed there was one couplet just staring at me, trigger fingers on that ionic pentameter. Out of nowhere, it seemed like there was a whole army of hyperbole. They had sawed-off similes, looked long like a giraffe leg. It seemed like it was all about to jump off. Everybody in their figurative language feelings. I felt vulnerable. I was on their literary turns, but haiku jumped out and accidentally bumped into irony. And irony, he didn't like haiku because he's always short with him. So a gang of puns started stressing haiku syllables. Haiku in the corner started yelling, y'all don't want problems. We can step outside right now. Easy bake oven. He didn't make sense, sounded all traditional, but Paradox screamed, he ain't no gangster. He's nothing but a tanker. He never popped nothing. He ain't never bang. He ain't no onomatopoeia. That's what Metaphor had enough. Because he be cup running over. He be gas tank full of this bull semblance. He stood up. He called his squad, allegories, mount up. We about to whoop his assonance. But haiku used his poetic foot and ran several meters. He didn't want no smoke, so he just refrained, always in the mix, repeating the same thing. It didn't make sense, but it didn't matter. They started busting quatrains with a bullet points. It was a personification of pain. And I was like, that's enough. Why are we always at war with our words? Use your poetic devices for good. We should feel safe out here in these sheets. Can't we all just get along? Can't y'all see that it takes a villanelle to raise a conundrum? So let's put this thing together and make one great poem. I read it every now and then because I know there's a lot of terms people naturally know. Like, okay. But those like really into the literary world, they go, oh man, I love that. All right, so make sure I got it. All right, so this poem right here. So when I did slam, I don't do it too much now. And when you get in competition, a lot of times people get in their egos. And then when you in these slams, you may beat the popular poet or the poet everybody was banking on to win because they're supposed to be the greatest. People get talking about you and say things. So I was winning. I had a stride winning a lot of slams one time, and it get back to me, man. Sunset said you're not even a great writer, or you don't use enough metaphors in your poems, stuff like that. Like, man, I'm just trying to tell my story. So this poem is dedicated to those people. It's called "I May Not Be Your Favorite Poet." I may not be the best poet in your opinion. My poems may not be filled with enough metaphors and poetic devices to be considered one of the nicest poets in anyone's top 10 list. But I promise you that within my slim frame is a heart filled with pain, a broken soul, and a hard head filled with I will not quit that transform tragedy into triumph. I come with enough ground that I outshine your pen game. I may not have enough bars that excite a whole room filled with poets, but I got enough savvy that speak to those in the trap, the trailer park, those down looking to get up. I speak to those who like what you're talking about, but don't quite understand what you're talking about. And that's not me dumbing down. This is uplift. This is I care about my people. This is me telling my story and not caring about how you think I should tell my story. This is freedom. This is me not apologizing for being me. This is me just writing my feelings. This is my rant poem. Well, this is actually a poem that I took my time to write. So this is my took my time to write, rant, not apologize for being me and my feelings being free poem. This is my magnum opus. This is my Magna Carta Holy Grail. This is my, if you don't like my poems, go to, well, this is my whatever that thing called when you're trying to get your PhD dissertation. That part poem. My finally got this off my chest poem. This is me getting those boulders off my shoulders so when they fall to the ground and crumble, all those who got something slick to say can kick rocks. I mean, like barefooted with no toenails and something in you will allow you to stop kicking type of kicking rocks. I'm everyone who has been misjudged, misdiagnosed, or misplaced, but I'm not a poet telling you what you already know. Life is sometimes good, sometimes bad, insert metaphor or entendre. That's like watching someone drown and you describing the water to them. They don't need your fancy words, they need your help. But don't get me wrong, I love poems so ethereal that you can taste the honey of the moon, dripping metaphors on the pendulum of your purpose. And I love poems so simplistic and to the point that you won't understand what the poet is going through. And I'm somewhere in the middle. So this is me ripping out my heart to still give hope to the impossible. Because I've been burned so many times, I don't know where my scars end and my body begins. And I can't remember where I got that from, but it touched me. And that's what I want to do. Touch lives. So I don't need to be your favorite poet. I don't need to be in anybody's top 10 list because only small things believe that there's a top. And some of y'all may think by being someone's favorite poet makes you the best poet. Well, I may not be your favorite poet. I may not be the best poet, but I'm the other side of the pillow. You don't think about it till you get tired of the same old, same old. Then you finally remember there's a whole other side. That's me. A different kind of cool, but mind clearing, right on time. And if I'm not your favorite poet, I'm cool with that. Thank you. Thank y'all so much, and thank y'all for just listening as I share. Some of these poems I don't get to read a lot, and I haven't committed to memory. So the intimate space, I love to share and get a feel of those things. Yeah, I'm interested to know which one of y'all favorite pieces. Let's talk about some art. I really, this is like 2 years of work. Well, no, a year and a half of work, not quite 2 years. I haven't even counted my pieces. 8, 10, 12, 15, 16, 17 pieces. Oh, wow. So that, yeah, we have an intimate conversation.
Maybe the one that strikes me is the third down.
Okay. In the moment, the orange hair, the locks. Yeah. The story behind that piece and the two at the end, last year at Christmas time, and I'm not really, it's a lot of holidays, and my kids are with their other side of their families. I locked myself in my room and just painted. And I painted those 3 pictures, that one and the two at the end. It took me the whole day until the morning to finish painting those things. And probably a couple days later, I may touched up some stuff, but I painted all 3 of those pictures on Christmas Day. So that's the story with those. There was a lady on Instagram, I saw her picture, and I took a picture, and I just did my own thing with it.
Yeah.
I like the small one.
The little bitty one, Exile.
Exile.
Yeah. I had the canvas is actually black. It's a black wooden canvas. And I had that maybe about 7 or 8 months. And I initially got it for my son. My 6-year-old loves to paint too. But I said, I want to do something like just abstract with it. And I just had some globs of paint and I just left it there. I said, I'm gonna do something with it. And I just got free and I saw these images and this one image by itself. So it's like they're putting this thought or this emotion in exile.
I like it.
Thank you.
It's like, I don't know, the ocean, the earth, it's got so many images in there.
I love that.
The water, the ground, the dirt, the red clay.
I love it. Now that's the cool thing I love about abstract art, to see other people's interpretation of what I create. Yeah, I love
this
that.
one is amazing.
Thank you. I had posted this up several months ago because I just felt like it wasn't done. So I asked people to kind of give me some suggestions and stuff. So I had maybe half the people say, leave it alone, leave it like it is. Some people like, add some clouds, put some stuff. My roommate, my best friend was like, put a poem and had it fade to the bottom. So yeah, so I'm leaning towards the poem. I actually had my tape kind of lined off the margins. I was like, I don't have time. So I ripped the tape off and brought it down here.
And I like the freedom.
Ah, man. That's one of my favorite pieces because I was really free doing that. I was just like,
Well, going back to this one though, it's almost like there's clouds up there.
Yeah, I got some stuff going on. And I think people, when I put it live, people couldn't really see what was going on. But I got a lot of stuff going on back there. That's why I'm kind of scared to touch it. Because we get closer, you can see it's busy in the back. We got a freedom. Oh, man, I wanted to have something where I could really just get free.
And it looks like it just keeps going, you know, like to me, which is nice. Reading all of this, the purple tear, you know, like that's very emotional. I mean, you know, it just brings out I think you've been there. I think I've been there.
Yeah. Indeed. I'm glad y'all liked it. Tom, what piece you like, man? What's your favorite piece?
Oh man.
We did a discussion of art now. Oh, cool.
I like the small one.
I like this.
Yeah, she just said that too. So that makes sense.
That's interesting. When I'm happy.
Yeah, I was feeling good. I had some music playing, one of my favorite hip hop songs. It was making me feel happy. And I was just like going with it. I'm like, man, it feels good. And I wanted to have something like that. I want to have some diversity with my art. I just really felt good.
Yeah.
My feelings are all over the place. So that kind of captures that.
So what about this one, Kingdom Come?
Oh man, so it's actually inspired by Basquiat. I don't know if you're familiar with artwork, but like in the 80s, it was an African American male in the 80s who did like a lot of weird abstract art. And he always had like a skeleton and he always had a crown in all of his paintings. And I wanted to commemorate him. I have both crowns, I have the king and the queen crown. I have it's almost like a road, but it's kind of part of the Ankh, the Egyptian Ankh, which is a symbol for like life after death or eternal life. And so it's a lot of chaos going on, but the crowns are sideways because they're still learning who they are, even though they're supposed to rule, they're still learning, and it's a lot of trials and
Like a
tribulations.
painting that someone is going to love.
I hope so. I hope so, because I like it, and a lot of people kind of.
I like it, but I think it looks like a painting that someone's gonna love.
I hope so.
You know what I'm trying. It's like it's got that feel like somebody's gonna.
It's gonna
grab me, and really love me.
I hope so. I love it. I had it hanging in my room, hanging in my room at the time. So a couple pieces I had hanging up that I took down, and I'm like, I'm gonna see what happens. But I really like that piece.
Well, I do want to thank everybody tonight for being here, and I want to thank Cora Newcomb for her love of art and love of story and love of Stone Soup. And Moody too. You know, you've been great supporters throughout the years. You know, I don't know what we would do without the people that really kind of know what storytelling is and the power that it has. I want to thank everybody again for being here.
This is for the poets that go place to place and not make a penny, but hoping someone will give them one for their thoughts 'cause thoughts are all that poets have to give, so you hope that someone would at least give you something, especially after the landlord gave you an eviction notice. So after stressing, you flip that piece of paper over, scribble some lines, and 9 times out of 10 you keep it. Because you have to deal with both sides of that paper now. On one side of that paper is the date, where you gotta have all your stuff out that house. But on the other side is a poem. Not just any poem, but a poem that becomes the soundtrack to your sanity. Instead of having a nervous breakdown, you broke down your struggles with a pen and sank your sadness and sorrows with a stanza or a sonnet in hopes to make tomorrow a better day. Some say you better pray, 'cause having that stress can prey on your soul, so pour out your soul to a soul that will listen. Going place to place, emptying out your soul, and sometimes leave with empty pockets, but you wouldn't trade in that therapy session that some people call reciting a poem for anything in that moment. Is priceless. This is for the people that don't know that they are poets. And at some point in English class, you flip past the poetry section to section yourself away to say that poetry ain't for me, or poetry's boring. Those who never seen themselves soaring in the blue skies, resting on white clouds, wearing a white tee with all whites and a white fitted hat that reads free. Those who never seen themselves wearing that same outfit on a stage or a platform, mic or no mic, only because they never seen themselves. But if you can see yourself, you'll free yourself. Instead of ripping your hood, you put on a hoodie, write a poem, and make a movement. 'Cause once you see somebody give you their heart, souls are moving. And it don't cost that much to do it. Just go down to the dollar store, get a pack of pens and a composition notebook for $2 and some change for a chance to change somebody's life. In that moment, it's priceless. And this is for me. Ever since I was a fetus in Pearl Reba's womb, visualizing this day, hoping someone write a poem to inspire me to write a poem to inspire change in somebody's life, screaming for it to come out, 'cause the only outlet is this poetry. When you feel like a penguin without a heart song, till you move your happy feet to the beats and the rhymes, the hopes of having a better day, till you write a poem in every debt notification and every bill, till the world knows that you only owe them the sincerity of your words. And yeah, early in life, you may thought poetry was boring, but it take you going to some things, putting it down on paper that you're going through some things to make it all worthwhile. And y'all poets, we may feel like our poems are worth millions, but until someone give you the last $5 to purchase your CD, despite them being a paycheck away from being homeless, that moment is priceless.